Um, so, let's pray briefly. Heavenly Father, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my testimony with the whole church. Let the Holy Spirit work so that when we hear this, that only your name will be glorified. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So when I was asked to give a testimony like a month ago, they asked me at Kakao Talk, like, can you give testimony on 31st? I said sure, not a problem. 한 달 전쯤에 이제 제가 카톡으로 이제 간증해 주시냐고 물어봤을 때 제가 네 당연히 할 수 있다고 이렇게 말했습니다. But at the time, I think I was in my local minima in terms of this spirituality. 네, 영적으로는 제 생각에 작은 골짜기에 이렇게 갇혀 있었던 시절이었습니다. And it felt a little bit like it felt a bit hypocritical to give a testimony at the time, to agree to give a testimony at the time, because I wasn't doing well personally. And the reason why I wasn't doing well personally was because there were so many things that I was afraid of at the time. I still do. 그때 내 영적인 골짜기에 있었던 이유가 뭐냐면 두려운 게 많았습니다. 지금도 두려운 게 많긴 하지만 그때는 특히 더 많았습니다. So the things that I was afraid of, well, it may sound a bit silly, but I was afraid of standing in front of my students and lecture. I wasn't sure if I had the strength to look at their face when they're like 100% bored all the time. 제가 이제 또 두렸던 것 중에 하나가 뭐였냐면 학생들 앞에 서서 애들이 이제 정말 지루해 죽겠다는 그 얼굴을 보면서 수업을 할 수 있을까라는 것도 사실은 두려웠습니다. So naturally there was a lot of things that I was afraid of, but because of this struggle, I was reminded of the grace that God has given me about 10 years ago. 그렇지만 이렇게 스스로 이렇게 혼자 고민하던 중에 10년 전쯤에 하나님께서 주신 큰 은혜에 대해서 다시 기억하게 됐습니다. And that is the one that I want to share with you today. 그래서 그 은혜를 같이 나누고자 합니다. So I think even though I was born in a Christian family, I was raised a Christian my whole life. I think there was 3 important turning points in my life to become a disciple or try to become a disciple. There were 3 important events. First was to realize that God loved me as I was. God loved me when I was a sinner, and Jesus died for me when I was a sinner. And it's not that I'm a good person that I deserve to be loved by Him, but He loved me just because He loves me, and that is enough. And that was the first thing that I had to realize, and I think that realization came around 2006, 2007. So when I went to college and I realized it, and I accepted the message that God had told me my whole life, that I love you as you are, and it doesn't matter. You have to earn my love. It's okay. I love you. And that is something that I had to accept, that I accepted in 2006. 첫 번째 제가 그리스도인으로서 성장하게 된 큰 계기가 3가지가 있다고 생각하는데, 그리고 첫 번째는 제가 하나님께서 나를 있는 그대로 사랑하신다는 걸 2006년 정도에 이제 받아들였을 때, 하나님께서 저에게 항상 말씀해 주셨지만 내가 하나님의 사랑을 얻기 위해서 노력하지 않아도 된다, 나를 그냥 사랑하셨다는 걸 느꼈을 때가 있었어요. 받아들였던 것 같습니다. And the second realization came in 2010, around 2010. So I went to co-stop in the first summer of my graduate school. 그래서 제가 박사 1년차 끝날 때 여름방학에 이제 코스타 연합 한인 연합 수련회를 갔는데, 코스타 the timing was it was really hard decision for me to go because one, I have to drive 10 hours to Pennsylvania. Second, it's for like 4 days and 5 nights. 4 nights and 5 days. So it's for a whole week. And then I had 2 very important things coming up for me. Well, I had a qualifying exam that summer, and second was I had a conference paper that I had to wrap up. 근데 되게 가는 결정이 쉽지가 않았습니다. 그래서 굉장히 가고 싶지 않았는데, 왜냐면은 이제 퀄을 봤어야 됐었고 여름방학에 그 다음에 이제 그 학회에 보내야 되는 페이퍼를 끝내야 되는데 but based on my own experience I know that whenever I try to say no to God that he would be like okay well try it and then I don't really do well 근데 제 경험상 제가 하나님한테 이렇게 반항할 때마다 하나님께서 저를 그냥 반항하게 냅두시고 혼자 망하는 걸 이렇게 경험했기 때문에 이제 그게 또 무서우니까 이제 꼬리를 말고 갔습니다 제가. 네. So because I was kind of afraid of the things happening and I have important events coming up, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna be in favor of God, right? This is not the time to say no to God. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. So I just went there. It was not a happy trip going there. Anyway, because of we almost ran out of gas and everything, so the car kind of stopped. I had to call the police. But all those stories aside, when I went there, the first day there's this prayer time, and everybody's praying. There's maybe a few thousand people on campus, and then they're all praying. And I'm not praying. I'm just standing there. And the only thing that I'm thinking about is the qualifying exam. And I'm still thinking about what I need to study, what experiments that I need to do. And I'm not praying. And I also realized that I resented those people who's praying around me. Because they're so much better than me. Come on, why are you so much better than me? Out of this thousands of people, I felt like I'm the only one who's not praying. And how could that be? Right? I'm supposed to be God's children, God's child. I'm supposed to be his son. And am I this ungrateful? Really? So I'm thinking. And God asked me this question. I felt like God asked me this question. It's like, will you follow me? It's like, well, I don't know. He asked me again, will you follow me? It's like, I'm not sure. But why are you not sure? Because the things that I was holding on to were so important for me. My qualifying exam, my degree, my study, my work, they were just so important to me that I wasn't sure if I could let them go for God. But then he asked me this question, like, what do you mean you're not sure you can let them go? 근데 제가 그때 혼자 기도를 못하고 있었는데 하나님께서 이렇게 물어보신 것 같았어요. 나를 따라오겠냐? 잘 모르겠는 거예요. 그래서 네라고 대답 못해요. 제가 한 가지가 있다면, 하나님께서 한 가지 했던 게 있다면 저는 굉장히 솔직했습니다. 그래서 잘 모르겠다. 왜 잘 모르겠냐? 그러니까 그때 제가 손에 쥐고 있었던, 꽉 쥐고 있었던 게 너무 소중한 거예요. 제 학위, 제가 내야 되는 성과, 퀄리파잉 exam 너무 소중해서 하나님한테 이걸 내려놓을 수가 없는 거예요. 근데 하나님은 저한테 물어보는 거예요. 그거 네가 너한테 소중한 게 맞냐? 그때 무슨 말인지 잘 몰랐어요. But he asked me like, you sure that it's you who's holding on to this? And I wasn't sure what that means. So I was like, do I want to be his, so the question was this, do I want to be his servant or do I want to be a free man? And I thought that question was really odd. Of course I want to be a free man. No? You don't want to be a free man? I wanted to be a free man. 네, 왜냐면 저한테 질문이 이렇게 나왔거든요. 예수님의 종이 되든지 아니면 자유인으로 살든지. 자유인으로 살 수 있으면 누가 종이 되고 싶어 하니까. Servant is it's like, I don't know, it's like a kind of polite term, right? What they say is you're a slave of God, right? Who wants to be a slave? I want to do what I want to do. Then, that was the moment he said to me, you sure you're a free man? And that's when I realized that I was not a free man. That was the moment I realized for the first time. 그때 하나님이 저한테 물어보셨습니다. 너 자유인인 거 확실해? 저는 제가 자유인인 줄 알았어요. 그런데 제가 자유인이 아니었습니다. 제가 뭐였냐면은 제가 가지고 있던 욕심의 노예였어요. But that's the moment that I realized that I was not a free man. I've never been a free man. I was a slave to my desires. I was a slave to my greeds. I was a slave to my fear. I was a slave to my sinful natures. Then the question changed. He was not asking me whether I want to be his servant or a free man. What he was asking me was, do you want to be slave to sins or do you want to be a slave to God? Do you want to submit yourself to sin, which leads to death, or do you want to submit to God, who has given his only Son? because He loved me when I was a sinner. And that was the moment that I surrendered, I think. Because, right, the choice is so obvious. If you're not a free man, if you're a slave, do you want to be a slave of sin or do you want to be a slave of God? And that was the moment I realized. And then, of course, that didn't change my life immediately, but I think that was one of the grace that He has given me. And then, so looking back, now I know I fear so much because of the things that I want, because I do not trust in Him, but because I feel like I have to do this, I have to earn this. So looking back on that 10 years ago, that event that almost happened 10 years ago, I am also strengthened today. And also, I hope that, I'm sure this grace is all shared with you as well, among you. God has given the same grace to all of us. So I hope that we can all accept this and follow Jesus as His disciples.